respected colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this opportunity. Actually, this research is made by me and my colleague, my mate, Ahmad Murtaza. He is now in Egypt, so he will get here for the presentation, and the presentation only will delivered by me. So today I will present my article entitled Epistemic Flattening, Artificial Intelligence and the Transformation of Quranic Hadith Authority in Indonesian Digital Islam. This presentation discusses how artificial intelligence changed the way Muslims access and validate Islamic religious knowledge, especially knowledge related to the Quran and Hadith. For colleagues who are not familiar with Islamic studies, the Quran is the sacred scripture of Islam. Meanwhile, Hadith refers to the saying, action, and approvals of Prophet Muhammad. Tafsir means Quranic interpretation or Quranic exegesis. Sanad means the chain of transmission through which Islam knowledge is historically transmitted and verified. My main argument is that AI doesn't only make Islamic knowledge easier to access, AI also transforms the structure of religious authority. Traditionally, we can see here, I made the table for the different epistemology between classical Islamic learning and AI-based religious answer. Traditionally, Islam knowledge is not simply information, it's connected to teachers, books, method, institution, and chains of transmission, or we call it sanad. In classical Islamic learning, religious knowledge is received through scholars and recognized texts. This is important because Islamic knowledge is not only about the content of an answer, but also about its source, method, and authority. In this AI era, the structure changes. A user can ask ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, or any other chatbot about a Quranic verse or hadith. Within seconds, AI gives a clear and confident answer. If we see, this is useful, but it also creates a problem. AI answer may look balanced and authoritative, but they don't always show the hierarchy of sources behind the answer. So AI doesn't only answer religious question, it also reshapes how religious authority appears to the user. So this research is focused in Indonesia. Why Indonesia? Because Indonesia is an important context for studying AI and Islamic authority. Indonesia is the world's largest Muslim majority country. It has strong institutions such as MUI. MUI is National MUI, Majelis Ulama Indonesia. It's a national council of Muslim scholars that issues religious guidance and fatwa. And also we have Nahdlatul Ulama and Muhammadiyah are two largest Muslim organization in Indonesia, and Pesantren is traditional Islamic boarding school where the students study Islam directly from Muslim scholars, memorizing Quran and studying Islamic studies. At the same time, Indonesian Muslims are very active in digital spaces. They use websites, local social media, YouTube lectures, online sermons, and now AI chatbots to search for religious questions. This relates to the theory of digital religion. Beller and Campbell explained that religious life today is shaped by digital media. Meanwhile, Surya and Campbell distinguish between religion online, where institutions provide religious information, and online religious, when people actively discuss and practice religion in digital spaces. AI intensifies this transformation because it doesn't only provide information, it also produces religious answer. This article is guided by three main research questions. The first is, how does AI explain Quranic verse and hadith? The second, how does AI represent authority and limitation? And the third, how does AI configure users, sacred texts, and scholarship? This question allowed the study to move beyond the simple issue of whether AI answer is right or wrong. So this is not the question of this research. Accuracy, yes, accuracy is important, but the study asks a deeper question. What kind of religious knowledge is system is produced when Islamic knowledge is generated by AI? The methodology this research use qualitative method. The primary data consists of 48 generated response from 4 AI platforms: ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, and Perplexity. Each platform was given the central prompts in Indonesian. So this is important because it reflects how many Indonesian Muslim ask religious question in daily life, in daily digital life. The prompts cover 4 cluster. The first is Quranic interpretation. You can see here some of the term that asked to the AI. The second is Hadith authenticity. The third, digital fatwa and contemporary religious issue. The data were analyzed through thematic coding and interpretative reading. The goal wasn't only to evaluate accuracy, but also to examine how AI organizes and legitimizes religious knowledge. To analyze the response, this study classifies sources into 4 levels of authority. The level 1 is classical primary sources, such as Al-Tabari, Bukhari, Muslim, Ibn Kathir. Level 2 is modern scholars and institutions, such as Quraish Shihab, Majlis Ulama Indonesia, Nahdlatul Ulama, Muhammadiyah. Level 3, contemporary oriented voices, such as Amin Awadud, Hussein Muhammad, etc. Level 4 is popular digital sources, such as blogs, repository, YouTube, local website. This framework is important because Islam knowledge is not flat. Different sources have different authority, method, and reliability. The problem appears when AI places these sources together without explaining their differences. So I have 3 major findings here. The first major finding is epistemic flattening. The epistemic flattening means the collapse of hierarchical distinction between different sources of Islamic authority. For example, in some response, AI mentions classical scholars such as Al-Tabari, Ibn Kathir, together with modern reformist thinkers such as Muhammad Abduh, Rashid Ridho, and together with feminist interpreters such as Amina Wadud, Asma Barlas, etc. The problem is not that this figure cannot be compared. The problem is that AI often present them in the same tone and the same level of authority without explaining their different method, historical context, and epistemic positions. For ordinary user, this may look balanced, but from the perspective of Islamic epistemology, it can be misleading. AI turns hierarchical tradition into flat surface. The second major finding is algorithmic hedging. Algorithmic hedging means that AI gives a substantive religious answer while also limiting or softening its own authority. This pattern appears strongly in sensitive religious topic. We can see here more sensitive the issue, more AI softening and limiting his own authority. When AI asks about meaning of An-Nisa verse 34, it often emphasizes that the verse must not be used to justify violence or domination. For additional context, this verse is used by some people to legitimize the violence against women or against wives. When I explain hadith about women, it often says that hadith should not be understood as general statement about woman inferiority or about men are smarter than women. When I discuss female leadership, it contextualizes the hadith is talking about daughter of Kisra, so it hadith only limiting to this context, not for all women, and open space for competence-based leadership. This hedging can be ethically useful. However, it also shows that AI manages sensitivity, race, and acceptability. Here we see a paradox. AI says it's not a scholar or mufti, but it still performs religious explanation. And the last minor finding is sanad aggregation class. As we say before, the third minor finding is sanad aggregation class. The concept describes the class between two systems of knowledge. The first system, sanad-based knowledge, is the system is verified through teacher, student, books, scholars, institution, and method. And in this AI area, it has the new system is AI aggregation. AI produce answer by collecting, summarizing, producing, and synthesizing patterns from data. This relates to the theory of algorithmic authority. Gillespie explains that algorithms sort and rank information. Kapitsa described algorithmic authority is as authority that emerges when algorithmic systems are trusted and mechanism of knowledge validation. Therefore, AI creates a class. For Islamic knowledge is based on transmission, or we call it sanad, while AI knowledge is based on aggregation. We have strong empirical example. Let me give several empirical examples from the data. As from ChatGPT, when it asks about the last verse, 34 of Anisa, ChatGPT response, many scholars were mentioned, but no bibliography, no book title, no page number, or detailed reference was provided. The answer appeared academic, but the source trail was weak. In some perplexity response, classical scholars were mentioned, but the links referred to popular website, online repository, or even secondary articles, not directly to primary tafsir or hadith book. In another case, AI said that it has no sanad and cannot replace qualified scholar, but it still provided structured religious guidance. There were also cases where institutional authorities such as Majelis Ulama Indonesia or Nahdlatul Ulama were mentioned, but when we see the source was not always an official fatwa document. These examples show that AI often combines strong religious vocabulary with weak or unclear chains of verification. So these three findings have several important implications. The first, AI changed how Muslims access religious knowledge. Religious answer became instant, personalized, and conversational. The second, fluency can be mistaken for authority because AI answers are clear and well organized. User may assume that they are reliable. The third, the hierarchy of sources become invisible. Users may not know whether a statement comes from a classical tafsir, a modern scholar, an institution, a blog, or a social media post, or even from random people. Fourth, Islamic institutions need to respond. Majelis Ulama Indonesia, Nahdlatul Ulama, Muhammadiyah, pesantren, and Islamic universities cannot simply reject AI because AI is already being used. The better response is educational and epistemological. Muslim users need digital religious literacy, how to verify sources, distinguish authority level, and use AI critically. So at last, to conclude this article argues that AI doesn't merely simplify access to Islamic knowledge. AI structurally reconfigures how Quranic and Hadith knowledge is produced, organized, and validated. This study has identified three major findings, as we said before, so I not repeat it. Therefore, the central question is not simply can AI answer religious question. The deeper question is what happens to religious authority when sacred knowledge is generated through algorithmic system. This is the central challenge of Quranic and Hadith authority, or even the bigger authority, religious authority in any religion, in the age of artificial intelligence. Thank you very much for your attention.